Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Merel and this video is a continuation. It's part 2 of a series of videos that I'm recording about a 2-hour long recording of an argument between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The video that I was recording ran kind of long, so I cut it up into a couple of pieces, and this is part 2. I'm not going to give the entire introduction again. You can go back to the previous video if you've missed it. But yeah, just jumping in here to say thank you so much for coming to this video. Hopefully you've come here after watching the previous part, which means that you probably enjoyed it. If you did, then thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here without having seen the previous video, either go back and watch the previous video or watch this one at your own discretion without knowing what's going on. That's if you want to go on an adventure, that's your prerogative. So either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, thank you so much for watching this. I'm very flattered that you want to spend this time with me, and enjoy.
And you can go, I can't meet those demands, I can't do it, or you can fucking promise me so I have a modicum of safety, I feel a modicum of respect, a little tiny shit sliver of fucking like, you are in this whether it is good or bad, whether it is good or bad, down and up, lows and highs, tough and easy. Not just when it's easy. I feel like you're a fucking vacation husband. You're so there when it's good. You're so there when it's easy. The second it gets hard, you question it. Last night, I'm just as guilty. I give you that. But I have been primed and conditioned. At this point, I thought I'd never get over Toronto. It hurt so bad. I got fucked over so bad, and I did not do anything like that. I didn't stoop that level at all.
Got the tapes.
I have so much
Absolutely.
respect for the level of self-control that Depp has in this recording. Like, she's slinging so many insults and accusations at him. I would have a lot of difficulty staying as calm as he's staying now and not engaging. And as he testified after a while, and this is when they were already in a relationship for a couple of years and they've been having fights for a couple of years, he learned to not engage, and I do think he has a point. I do think that if he would actually engage with a lot of those accusations that she just threw at him, that it would just derail anyway. What I'm reading in this conversation is that he's just given up on trying to actually work through all those points, and I get it. I get that she's not really in this situation. She's not really the kind of person you can have a good conversation with about this kind of stuff. Well, something else that I want to point out is she says, "I'm just as guilty. I give you that." It's something. But she immediately comes with an excuse. Like, yeah, I'm just as guilty, I give you that, but I have been primed and conditioned at this point. Like, I thought I'd never get over Toronto. It hurt so bad. I didn't stoop to that level at all. I think stoop is supposed to be written with 2 O's, but I could be wrong. There is, again, no real engagement with the accountability that she's supposed to take here. I'd say that taking accountability in this situation would just be saying, I'm just as guilty, I give you that. Stop. Not saying, but I have been primed and conditioned. Because that's not taking accountability. That's just like, yeah, I did bad things, but you provoked me into it, or I did bad things, but it's their fault, or this situation or that situation. Instead of, yeah, I did this. And leave some time for the other to accept or reject that apology. I don't think she ever does that. At least not in this recording, for as far as I've listened to it. But I've only listened to it the first half hour, as I said. So yeah, let's continue.
I wish it had caught everything too.
Why don't you send me the fucking recordings? Just,
I will.
just text them to me.
I don't know how else to say I will to you. Hasn't really been a kind of safe environment now, has it? So if I'm looking to stoke a fire, yeah, okay. I haven't, because we have not been well. We have not been good. When I fucking move out, if I move out, then you'll have them, and you can fucking relish them. You won't fucking like it, what you hear. Won't make you happy. But you'll hear what I'm telling you. We haven't really been good. It hasn't really been a safe environment now, has it? You act like you're fucking on something when I haven't, sent you this. Like, well, send them to me. Get this. It hasn't been good. It's been a little
Does
tough.
anyone else have the feeling here that they don't really know what she's talking about? Because literally all he asked was just send me the recordings. And she says, I will, and then she continues on to say, when I move out, if I move out, then you'll have them. And she then says, you won't like what you hear, it won't make you happy, but you'll hear what I've been telling you. If those recordings exist in the way that she says they exist, and if they show what she says they show, then why not send them? Why wait till you move out, right? She also keeps coming back, she said that a little earlier as well, she also keeps coming back to the kind of safety element. She says here as well, hasn't really been a kind of safe environment now, has it? I honestly don't know exactly what she's on about. It feels like she's just on some kind of rant that has somehow become divorced from the actual subject, because all he did was just send me the tapes. And she again keeps working herself up and keeps getting more anxious and more angry. And he's still calm so far.
Well, it wasn't before Rio.
Was it tough?
I mean, it was only in the sense that you tried to keep me,
It's been really tough.
And why did you come to Rio?
All I've been trying to do is be with you, spend time with you. You said you needed that. You said that it made a difference that I wasn't working. You wanted me to travel with you.
That was the
You
time
said
you were
our
looking for
relationship would be
apartments?
different. That was after Toronto.
Yeah, that's when we came back here.
I know where we
Toronto,
were.
Boston, here,
I know where we
rehearsals.
were. We've been on the road basically since Australia, and I have been at your side. And I have not been filming a movie.
Well, we were on our honeymoon. I hope you were at my side.
I'm not talking about just a honeymoon. Now, am I? I'm talking about many months. And was it all the honeymoon? No. I have been at your side throughout it all. You said, why did you come to Rio? And I answered you. I would love for it to be better. I have no fucking consistency, no safety, no security. The relationship is something you don't fight for, you don't stand up for, you always run from when it's tough. I'm telling you, I need more. We didn't say vows. You didn't make them exactly in that way, but now is the fucking time. I need to know if you're going to be there. I want promises. I told you that at the beginning of this conversation. I need promises that you're going to fucking be there. I need promises that this is important to you. Not when it's easy, when it's hard too. This is something you'll fight for. That this is something that's sacred, that neither of us throw out every fight. I can't be the only one to hold the promises. I was in Toronto and it fucked me over. I can't be the only one. You can't be the only one. If I split on you, all those times that I thought about doing it, we would not be here. And I stayed, and it's tougher. That's stronger. I'm stronger. It is easy to run. It is easy to run away from problems. It is easy to take that out and say, well, that's the easiest. That's that's the safest way out. I'm not saying we should get in physical altercations. I never want to be in that. Never. But every time you don't like what I say and you fucking run away, will never work out anything. You can't run away every fight. You can't. It's easy. It's not brave. It's not strong. It's harder to say to somebody, I want to work this out. I want to face what I have. I want to face what you have. I want to work it out with you. You're not working it out. You're running away, and then you made me be the bigger person every single time and come to you and knock on the door and come to this house and say, hey, we're married. It's supposed to be sacred. Calm down, calm down.
I made you.
Yes.
The reason that some things are bolded in this transcript, by the way, I'll put it in the description as I promised, is this comes from a psychotherapist. I'm sorry, I really don't know what her position is, but it's an article about spousal emotional abuse, and a lot of these things have been highlighted. Well, you'll see it when you look at the website, and go there because this person has put a lot of effort in it and deserves some foot traffic on their website. So go ahead and go to that website. So she's more or less demanding more consistency, safety, security, promises. I want promises. I told you that at the beginning of the conversation. I need promises. You're going to fucking be there. In her perception, he is abandoning her every time he leaves. In his perception, he is leaving to prevent it from becoming a physical altercation. Now, her claim is that he has physically and sexually abused her many, many times. Does this sound like someone who's been abused a lot of times? I mean, this is half a year after the Australia incident where she claims that she was violated with a glass bottle and that she was dragged over broken glass on the floor and that she had cuts and scrapes and everything. And that she was, well, mauled, basically. And she also claims to have PTSD from all of his violence, and this is half a year after Australia. Does this sound like she's been abused by him? Does this sound like she's afraid of him? Does this sound like he is at a risk of beating her up? I don't really think so. I don't expect someone to be all like frightened little mouse, like, oh no, please don't hurt me. No, not at all. That's not how I want to that's not the image that I want to paint of people who've been through abuse. But she is really she's really aggravating him at this point and yelling at him and demanding things. And if, according to her own testimony, he is so volatile and incalculable and unpredictable, I wouldn't do this. That seems like a huge risk to talk to him like this. She's even calling him weak. She says, I'm stronger. And she says it's easy to run. Her perception is that he's running from the problems, and his perception is, well, it turns into a fight like this every time, so I'm gonna wait until things calm down. Now, I don't know what happens after those fights, so I don't know if he does or doesn't come back to say, hey, let's work this out. I really don't know, so I don't want to say anything about it. But in her perception, he doesn't. And she says, you make me be the bigger person every single time and come to you and knock on the door. So her perception is also that she's the one who's kind of saving the marriage by, after every fight, coming to him and talking it out, or at least trying to talk it out. And she is putting it like that's some kind of a bad thing. Like, you make me be the bigger person every time, as if that's an accusation. It's just really, really weird. Well, he kind of says the same. He's also like, I made you?
By default, if you're never the one to do it, one of us is, and I'm the one to do it every time. It means I'm the bigger person every time. It means I have to be the strong one. It means every time I have to fight for our relationship, and you get to be you get to be lazy. You get to be cowardly. I don't know what it is.
What are you here for? What do you need me for?
Once again, I am fighting for the relationship.
With a guy that you don't fucking trust or like? Why?
I did not say I didn't like you.
He does have a point. She keeps saying, I don't trust you, I don't have any safety, and you're a coward, and you run away, and you're not strong, and she's insulting him left, right, and center. And I have a lot of, I'm very impressed by how collected he remains, like just asking, then what are you here for? And you can hear in his tone that he's getting a little bit angry, but I would have been at that level of angry half an hour ago already. So, yeah.
I love you. You're my favorite person in the world.
I don't see how
I
could
remember
be.
what I said at the beginning. I'm sorry you feel like you can't imagine it. But I said this to you at the beginning of this conversation. I said, you're my favorite person in the whole world. If you weren't the most magnetic, shiny, beautiful, interesting, dynamic person I had ever met in my life, it would be so easy to walk away from this bratty thing that you do.
Untrustworthy.
Yeah, she
Did you
has
hear what
a
I just
point.
said?
She's been calling, she's been slinging a lot of insults at him. And she is throwing in some kind of compliments, but she's got some compliments and like, I love you, you're my favorite person in the world, magnetic, shiny, beautiful, interesting, dynamic person, which is arguably a little strange. It's a strange way to describe your partner, but I can run with it. That's fine. If that's how she talks, it's completely fine. And then she's like, but you do a bratty thing. It doesn't seem like she's trying to get to the positive, even though she portrays herself as trying to get to a positive.
I said I can't trust. I can't trust. That's not meaning you're untrustworthy. It means that we've created a situation, and I'm telling you what you do to create it too. We've created a situation in which there cannot, trust can't grow. It's like it's trampled every single time, and we need a marriage. That's why I sat down. Do you not remember me sitting down at the very beginning of this conversation and saying just that to you? Saying, I know you got married for security and for safety. So did I. We did not get married because it was something that we're doing, because it was something we could walk away. We wanted the stake, that foundation. No?
Yes, I wanted to make you my wife.
Yes, but you could just have me as your girlfriend if you didn't want the foundation. And you told me, and maybe you go back on it now. Fine, okay, cool. Lie about that. I don't know. You told me you wanted a foundation. You told me you wanted the security. You wanted the safety. You liked the foundation. At the beginning, you said, I really like having that. It feels safe. So don't argue with me when I say it now.
I'm not arguing with you.
Like every minute that passes in this conversation is really getting harder and harder to believe her story about how violent and abusive he was, and it's more and more easy to believe his story about how, at least emotionally and psychologically abusive she was. So, yeah. There are more insults, and something that gaslighting people also do is highlighting some of the good things they do and forcing you to agree with them, and then pretending like that makes them a good person. Like she says, that's why I sat down. Do you not remember me sitting down at the beginning of this conversation? It's broadcasting. See how good I am. I sat down at the beginning of this conversation, and then it becomes very hard to well, you have to agree because they probably did that, but it becomes very hard to levy any kind of criticism after that, because then they can twist it around and say, well, I did something good and you're still beating me down. What's this all about? And all of these tactics make it really hard for him. You see that it's very hard for him to get any word in edgewise. And he is still calm, and she again kind of gaslights him by saying, don't argue with me when I say it now. And he is not arguing with her, so I don't know what this is about either.
Oh, yeah, but you had to pick it apart.
By saying because I loved you and you're my wife, I wanted you to be my wife. That's picking it apart.
No.
Then how did I pick it apart?
I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight about a fight. I want to fight about semantics.
How come when I come up with a point, you can't answer it? You don't want, or suddenly you don't want to answer it?
What am I not answering? Because I don't want to fight about this new thing? No, I don't want to. I said you wanted the safety and security, and you stopped me, you interrupted me, and then you said, What? Because no, because I wanted to have you as
I
my
didn't
legal.
interrupt you.
This
You
is
asked me, right?
very typical gaslighting
So,
to me.
right.
I meant
She's making it impossible for him to actually engage with the contents of the conversation. She keeps twisting and turning and getting into all kinds of different accusations, and it's very hard for me to find actual words because I've got it in my head as a concept, but she says, well, you pick it apart, and he literally only said one sentence. He totally has a point, and then when he repeats that point, like, how did I pick it apart? Then suddenly she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight about a fight. I don't want to fight about semantics. That's something that we saw earlier when they talked about Toronto. Suddenly she's like, I don't want to fight about Toronto. I don't want to start going about all fights. I don't want to fight about semantics. It's, if someone does this to you, take note, because if you don't talk about that any point soon, inadvertently, and I don't mean that the other person has ill will, I don't mean that they're evil or want to hurt you or whatever, but it's very easy for this to become a pattern where the other person can shut a conversation down by saying, no, I don't want to fight about semantics, even though in this point I would say that the semantics are very important, because she's accusing him of something and he doesn't agree, so you talk about it. So if someone is kind of hedging like this, make sure you talk about it, and stay calm, stay collected, don't be accusatory, don't be like, you do this, you do that. Just say, hey, I want to talk about something, I've noticed something that you do, maybe it's not your intention, but it's having this and this effect on me. Stick to yourself. Make sure that you use a lot of I language, like, I feel it has this effect on me, it does this with me, instead of you do this, you make me feel. You make me feel is a kind of a weird sentence because it blames the other person for how you feel. It's better to say, that thing that you do makes me feel, instead of you make me feel, it makes me feel, is more neutral. But Depp also really has a point when he says, how come when I come up with a point you can't answer it, suddenly you don't want to answer it? That's exactly what she does. And she again kind of gaslights by, what am I not answering? Because I don't want to fight about this new thing. No, I don't want to. She's not answering again. And she's again offloading the accountability by saying, no, I don't want to fight about this new thing. Like, blaming him for fighting about a new thing. It's really weird.
you interjected. I meant you said. You said. How about that? See, now, is this better? I answered you. I addressed what you're saying. Now, can we please not fight about that?
And I said, because I love you.
I said loved.
We're talking about a fucking event that's past tense. If I used
I'm still
loved,
very impressed how calm he is.
it doesn't
And
mean that.
notice that she just said, I don't want to fight about semantics. And now she's the one fighting about semantics by saying, you said loved, not love. It's kind of hypocritical if you ask me.
My whole point that you had, I don't know, an issue with is that you love me. Yes, you married me though because you wanted some safety, some security, some stability, a foundation. Now, if you take issue with that, okay, take issue with it. But if you agree, then you agree. That's who you were when you married me.
Yes, but the only thing that's missing is with you. I wanted those things with you.
Yes.
And that's
yes.
what I was trying to say.
Me too.
Because I love you, and I wanted to marry you for that, for our love, for the security, for the foundation, for, yes, of course. But you left for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Me too. I mean, with you, of course.
Or with you, or whatever.
I mean that, of course. Of course I do. Of course I want that with you. It's why I'm married to you. But I need the safety, I need the security, I need the boundaries, and I think you Could you not agree?
I need the same things.
So
But when you start flipping out, and I can't get a word in, and it's manic and angry. Well, what the fuck, Amber?
I get angry. I'm human. This is the kind of situation where one gets angry.
Okay, but you can't provoke anger in me then. If I just
I feel like I'm
if I'm angry.
repeating myself here, but do you see how she's again not really taking accountability? Like, yeah, I get angry. I'm human. This is the kind of situation where one gets angry. Like, it's not my fault. I'm human. And yes, making mistakes is human and getting angry is human, but you still take accountability for your own humanity because it's still you. You can't pretend to be a slave to your own emotions. You have some measure of control, as Johnny Depp is clearly portraying here. He is stunningly calm in this situation, yet she claims that he has anger management issues. Now, this is still one isolated incident. This is not their entire relationship. But if this is emblematic for their relationship, then it becomes increasingly difficult to believe her claims, really. And he really has a point. Like, when you start flipping out and he can't get a word in, well, then what the fuck? He hasn't been able to get a word in, and whenever he does, she just dismisses it, like, no, I don't want to fight about that. Yeah, of course I mean that, of course I do, but like she keeps dismissing it, and I never see her actually taking it in and actually saying, well, yeah, you're right, that's not helpful. I'm sorry, and I'll try to be better. And then just leave it for a second and not immediately move on, like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but let's go. No, just take a moment, just say, I'm sorry, you're right, I should try to be better at this, and then leave some time for the other person to respond and to take in that apology, and then you move on. She's not really giving him an inch in this conversation, and I find it very worrisome that she says, I can't control that if I'm angry. I find it very worrisome that she apparently sees herself as someone who cannot control her anger and doesn't see a problem in that. She apparently sees that as either, well, maybe not normal for everyone. Well, kinda, she says, I'm human. This is a situation where one gets angry. But she doesn't seem to be under the impression that she, as a human being, has some measure of control about her own emotions. And that worries me, because someone who doesn't feel like they have control over their own emotions is likely also not going to put in the work to prevent themselves from hurting someone else. If someone thinks, well, yeah, if you do that, of course I'm going to beat you up. I'm human. I can't control that if I'm angry. Then I don't get the feeling that that person is trying to be better. Well, if someone says, yeah, I do lose control, and that's not okay, I should really work on that, I should really try to fix that, then I could imagine having some more trust in that things will be okay. So the fact that there's actual photo evidence of him losing like the top third of his finger, that the entire house was wrecked in Australia, the fact that he has some more photos of bruises with actual swelling, meanwhile the bruises that she has on her photos are very consistent with cosmetic surgeries like cheek filler, like especially the bruise that she had here when she went to file for divorce is very consistent with cheek filler, and you can look at photos of her through the years. She's obviously had some work done here. Now, I'm not saying they're for sure from cheek filler and other cosmetic surgeries, but they're very consistent. And something that they're not consistent with is being beaten in the face repeatedly with a closed fist, with all the rings that he wears the day before or a couple of days before. Like there's one instance where she says that she actually feared for her life and that she thought this is where I'm gonna die and that she probably broke her nose, and then the next day she went on to appear on the James Corden show, the Late Late Show I think it's called, or Late Late Night Show, I don't know, with James Corden, and that they had to use very heavy makeup. But the thing is, if you're punched, then you have swelling. And makeup cannot conceal swelling. I'm sorry. Like, maybe if you do a really, really good job, you can try to hide some of the bruising and some of the discoloration. But if you look at her appearance at the James Corden show, there is no swelling. But she claims, and she testified to this last week, she claims that she was repeatedly punched in the face with a closed fist to the moment that she thought she was gonna die. And the next day she appears at the James Corden show, and it just doesn't line up at all. I said I was not gonna get into the details of the trial too much, but it really bugs me. It really, really bugs me, to be honest. And it's just because I don't think that she is fully conscious of what she does. I don't think that she is 100% aware of her gaslighting. I don't think she does it consciously on purpose. I do believe that she does it on purpose, but not with her knowledge, because gaslighting is just a self-defense mechanism, because it's too uncomfortable to take accountability. So you gaslight someone to not have to take accountability. And people learn to do that from a very young age because it works. Because as you see, we're quite a ways in, and she still hasn't taken any accountability whatsoever. Even though there have been many situations where she could have. And so someone learned subconsciously that it's a tactic that works. I mean, if you stir in your pan a certain way that's easier than the way you did it before, then you learn that that's easier and that's how you do it. But you're not necessarily conscious of it. And what worries me most is that a lot of people are not aware of these red flags, and I hope that with these videos I'll be able to enlighten that a bit more. I'll be able to point out a little bit more, like, this is what's happening, and I don't have the emotional bandwidth to script something and actually structure it and think about it. But I had been thinking about making videos like this for a long time, and I'd been putting it off and saying it's not gonna work. But now I decided, you know what? Screw that. I'm just gonna try. If nobody watches it, then nobody watches it, and that's fine too. I do wanna try. So I'm gonna stop here for now because this video is already running very long, and for you probably this video hasn't been very long, but I've been recording for over an hour and I'm tired. I do promise that I'll continue soon. I just don't know how soon is, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any comments, any feedback, any tips that you have. I do thrive better in conversations than in making videos like this, so just drop me a comment, please. I'd really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending time to actually listen to me rambling on without any kind of clear structure or thought or anything. I really appreciate it a lot, and I hope to see you again soon. So yeah, till next time.